there, Chef Donna here, and welcome to Everyday Homemade. Today I have a chocolate craving, so I am going to make a double chocolate in walnut cookie. It's going to have chocolate chips and cocoa powder, and then I'm going to toast the walnuts to give them extra flavor in our cookies. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is toast the nuts. Now, I know most recipes don't say to do this, but it really brings out the natural oils in the nut and gives it such a deeper flavor profile. So I have them on my sheet pan here, and I'm going to put them in an oven for 5 minutes at 375 degrees. The next thing I'm going to do is get my eggs warmed up, and I am just going to run some hot water, and I'm going to let them sit in the hot water for a few minutes. My butter is also cold from the refrigerator, so I'm going to put it in the microwave, and I'm going to heat it in 5-second intervals until it's softened. My butter has become softened in the microwave. You can see that it hasn't melted, it's still in solid form, but it's soft enough to blend in the sugar when we start our cookies. My nuts are out of the oven, and I'm just going to let them sit here and cool. Today I'm going to use my stand mixer to make these double chocolate chip cookies. And I have my butter that we've just warmed up in the microwave. I'm going to go ahead and add that right to the bowl, and then I'm going to whisk it around so it gets nice and softened. Now that my butter is nice and softened and whipped, I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of granulated white sugar and then 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. We're just going to let that mix in. Do you want to scrape down the sides? Make sure it's all getting incorporated. Now we'll add in 2 eggs. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract to our wet ingredients. I do want to sift my flour into this bowl. I just want to sift it so there's no lumps. Now I'm going to add the cocoa powder. I think it's 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, but this I definitely want to sift. If you skip the flour, make sure you sift this because it's always clumpy. Lastly, I'm going to add some baking soda and a little bit of salt. So here we go. I have the flour, cocoa powder, a little bit of baking soda, and some salt in this bowl. And I'm just going to gradually add it in to our wet ingredients. I'm going to scrape down my bowl as it mixes so everything is incorporated well. The nuts that were toasted have cooled off, they're not hot anymore, and I'm going to go ahead and add them to the batter along with 2 cups of chocolate chips. I'm just going to let it mix enough so they stir and like mix in. I don't want them to break all apart by the machine. I'm going to use a cookie scoop today, and the reason why I use this is so that the cookies are all the same size and they cook evenly. Another trick that I like to do is I put my cookie sheet into the oven to warm up. So you know when you're making cookies, the first batch, the pan's usually cold, so they take a little bit longer to cook. By warming up the pan, you kind of speed up the process, and then everything cooks evenly. So I'm going to work rather quickly because our pan is warm, and I'm going to scoop the cookies right onto me. I'm going to let the cookies bake for 10 to 12 minutes. I do tend to like my cookies, personally, I like them a little bit crispier. So I usually cook cookies a little bit longer than instructions actually provide, but that's just my personal choice. So I'm going to check them in about 12 minutes and see how they're doing. The timer just went off, so I can't wait to check these cookies and see how they're doing. Oh, they look beautiful. Wait till you say trying not to burn myself. Oh my goodness, look at these. I'm gonna let them cool off for just a couple minutes and I'm gonna get them off of the cookie sheet and we'll get another batch going. You can see that the cookies are nice and puffy, and that's from the baking soda because it's a leveler and it actually gives height to the cookies. So I'm gonna go ahead and transfer them off and get them cooled. Now that all my cookies are baked, I am going to store them in the freezer once they're completely cool. I'm going to put them in an airtight container and I'm going to put wax paper in between each layer. Now I do this for two reasons. First, I want them to stay as fresh as possible, and because there's no preservatives in the cookies, they're homemade from scratch, they're going to go stale in like 2 days. Secondly, I do not want to eat the whole batch in 2 days. So if I put them in the freezer, I can just pull out one or two whenever I'm in the mood. I warm them up in the microwave and I have them with a cup of tea or coffee. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I'm going to get my first layer going in our airtight container. Oh, my cookies have cooled off a little bit. I just can't wait to have a bite and check it out. I want you to look at these. Look how beautiful and crackled they are. Oh, they're so pretty. I cannot wait to have a bite. The cookies are nice and tender, but then have a little bit of crisp on the outside, which to me is absolutely perfect. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to never miss an episode, and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day and you keep it homemade every day. Bye, everyone.